So many voices from England said this Chennai pitch was a raging turner, not a good enough pitch for Test cricket. And look at what R. Ashwin has done. What has he done? After taking that 5 wicket haul on day two, R. Ashwin comes, joins Virat Kohli, stitches up a great partnership, and scores his fifth Test match 100. And he's now only behind Ian Botham in terms of the men who've scored the most Test hundreds and taken 5 wicket hauls in the same Test match. Right, so India are in a commanding position. They need just 7 more wickets to wrap up what is looking like a massive victory. But before we dissect another great day for India in the second Test in Chennai with Pragyan Ojha, Boria Majumdar and Deep Das Gupta, here's a quick look at why you should download the House app quickly. Have a look.
क्या आप भी किसी अपने सपने मेरे तुम्हारे टीम 11 पे टीम बना रहे हो और बच्चों के साथ खेल रहे हो? हमारे साथ खेलोगे? हाउस ऐप पे खेलो लेजेंड्स के साथ, हमें हराओ और जीतो डबल कैश. Log on to houseapp.com and win real cash.
Right. What a day this was for R. Ashwin, and what a day this was for India. In fact, Pragya, this is that kind of innings, right? Both Ashwin and Kohli, when they came together, the pitch, they said from England, it looked like such an unplayable pitch. Certain voices from England made this pitch sound like such a dust bowl, such a minefield. Yet you had that Rohit Sharma 161 on the third day. In between, you had that England collapse, and on the third day, when the pitch is supposed to deteriorate further, R. Ashwin comes in at number 8 and smashes probably one of the most memorable Test match hundreds in India in recent years. Your take on that? He's really walked the talk, hasn't he? And he's joining an elite list with that 100.
Yeah, first of all, I'd like to congratulate Virat Kohli and R. Ashwin, the way they have shown that how you have to play on these kind of conditions. They were showing that what kind of control they had over their mind. Yes, it's not surprising. There are a few people, and it's their bread and butter. So they have to make some comments. And especially they get more traction when they talk about India, because Indian cricket is followed vastly, and everybody wants to be a part of it. They want a piece of it. So yes, I can understand that, but saying that it goes back to the same thing. Test cricket, you have to play on every surface, then only you become what you become. So in a green surface, you go bat there, you find your own technique, you apply yourself, you get those runs. And Ashwin just showed it. He showed it with the ball. Then everybody must have thought that, okay, it's a turning track. Ashwin got a 5-4. But with the bat also, he showed he can bat and he knows how to apply, and he got 100. And he said, boss, if you apply yourself, if you put your mind into it, if you have the heart to play, you will also get the 100 in the same game. That's what he showed. And Virat Kohli, the way he adapted to the situation, he knew first innings he got out to a gem of a delivery of Moeen Ali, where the ball, that is called off spinner's dream delivery, where he just created a gap in between bat and pad, and the ball turned in and got his stumps. So he made sure he was shuffling a bit. To off spinner, he was trying to shuffle and trying to get close to the ball so that he negates the turn. And when you look at Jack Leach, he was not shuffling to off stump. He was staying there and he was playing with the angled bat so that he can negate the turn. So you need to adapt. That is how it is. It's all about who adapts the best, survival of the fittest. And that's what our boys did, and they showed it to the world.
Absolutely. Boria, you would be very proud of R. Ashwin. You hold him in very high regard. He's a good friend of yours. You've done several interviews with him. But talk us through his mindset. And also, I also want your perspective on this whole unnecessary criticism around this pitch, that this man coming in at number 8, he's not scored 100 in a long while, and he scores the swift 100. In fact, he's joined an elite list. Before we take your points, we'll quickly fire up the graphic for you to show that he's now right behind Ian Botham in terms of Test hundreds and 50 and 5 wicket also the same match. There you go, Ian Botham, R. Ashwin, and he's passed some legends of the game there. Gary Sobers, Mushtaq Ahmed, Jack Callis. Boria, what a phenomenal day this was.
It was. I actually want to see a graphic 110 wickets. I mean, I don't know if how many have. I mean, I was actually thinking because Ravichandran Ashwin, if Pragyan Ojha is right, has the opportunity of 10 wickets and 100. How many times has that happened in international cricket? But to put that pitch debate to rest, it was Ravichandran Ashwin telling everybody, perhaps the Michael Vaughns, the Mark Waugh, the Kevin Petersons, that listen, I took my wickets in the first innings not because of the pitch, but because I'm a modern day great and an all time great. And I will show you how to bat. I will show you how to score runs on this particular wicket. And then again, I will come and pick wickets. So the basic necessity to do what I am doing is exemplary skill, which I have, which Virat has, which this Indian team has demonstrated in this particular match. Unfortunately, the English haven't. So instead of the verbal skills, instead of the 140 character tweeting skills, you would much rather spend some more time and develop batting and bowling skills on wickets like this, because that's what eventually makes you a champion team. And that's what the Indians have shown. By the way, while you celebrate Ashwin and Virat, just put this in perspective. Rohit Sharma, Ajinkya Rahane, Rishabh Pant, R. Ashwin, Virat Kohli. 5 of them have got 50 plus, 2 of them have got hundreds on what is supposedly an unplayable wicket. You don't expect Siraj, Akshar Patel, or for that matter, Akshar Patel, Siraj and Ishant Sharma. So effectively, you are talking about only Cheteshwar Pujara, who was unfortunately run out, and Shubman Gill, who missed out. So that tells you how unplayable the pitch was. Frankly, the verbal volleys of the English were genuinely playable for each one of us. And as Pragyan Ojha very rightly said, it's for bread and butter, and we understand that. Make a comment on India, add some more Twitter followers, and maybe get a job on a particular website or somewhere in India to make some comments. But fact of the matter is, this Indian team in this particular game has demonstrated that they can yet again come back and do so with tremendous quality. So verbal volleys for one stop. Tweets should happen, and those tweets should be about how good India has been and how much England needs to catch up.
Right. Also, Bore, I want your perspective on why Virat Kohli is so compact. He does look so compact, doesn't he, against spinners? He got the delivery from Moeen Ali. Deep Dasgupta has joined us again in record time, right from his commentary duties. But before I go to Deep, Bore, Virat is so compact against spinners. He looks so different from the other batsmen who struggled on what has been a challenging pitch. Undoubtedly, it is a good pitch, unlike what the Englishmen have been saying, unlike what former England cricketers feel. It has been a very, very good cricket pitch, but definitely it's to be expected that you get these conditions in India. But what sets Virat Kohli apart from the innings that you saw this morning?
See, when we use the word great, we use it with a lot of weightage. And Virat Kohli demonstrated to you this morning why he is a modern day great and an all-time great, and in all formats of the game. That's why we called it a batting masterclass. Rohan Gavaskar tweeted out to me saying he's a beast of a batsman. Of course he is. I mean, the way he did so, quick wickets fell, the way he adjusted. And as Pragyan explained to you so beautifully, that look at the way he faced Moeen Ali. And I think when he was on 44, that's when the first expansive drive came out. Exactly the same shot to which he got out. And from 44 to 48. But by then he was in, he was set, he knew what was going on. He's an absolute genius. And so for people who keep talking about, Virat Kohli is not getting runs, for God's sake. You are talking about somebody who will go down in the history books as one we were proud to have as an Indian. But I again say, Rohit Sharma in the first innings, Virat Kohli in the second, Rishabh Pant, Ajinkya Rahane, Ravichandran Ashwin has once again demonstrated that it is about skill. And it is skill and players that win you cricket matches, not pitches. Pitches can help, does so in all parts of the world to the home team, but ultimately it's skill, verve, commitment, determination, temperament that wins you cricket matches, and that's what the Indians have shown.
Absolutely. These are not just words. This is the character of the Indian team. Deep, you must have thoroughly enjoyed this partnership, right? And that superb 100 from R. Ashwin. Your take on the pitch before, there are quite a few things to dissect through. But this partnership, like both Pragyan and Boria said, showed the mentality, the character, the technical grit of this Indian cricket team. Deep, what a wonderful
I mean,
innings to
listen,
watch.
the point is you need skills. You need skills. And I mean, my only issue is people have a problem when the ball's turning. They don't have a problem when on day 3 the pitch is seaming. It's the same, isn't it? On day 3, day 4, the pitch is still seaming. So why is there a problem when the pitch when the ball starts turning? And you need skill set. This is Test cricket, right? This is, I mean, that's what it is all about. It's supposed to test your skills apart from various other things. And so if you want the ball to come and hit your bat straight without any deviation or anything in the air or off the pitch, I mean, you already have T20 and ODI, right? I mean, Test match cricket, this is what it's all about. I mean, and today I'm so glad, and it was so good to see the masterclass in how to play spin, because I also believe, because there aren't too many spin bowlers going around in the world. So I mean, the skill set is not as forthcoming or exposed as much as, say, batting against seam bowling or swing bowling. But this again is a very important aspect of the game which we don't want to lose out on. And today, the way Ashwin and Virat, I mean, Boria was talking, I'm sure Pragyan has spoken about Virat as well, and those minor adjustments that he made. For example, Moin Ali, I don't know whether you have already spoken about it, three of you. I mean, he started moving right across the off stump. The first innings, he was coming onto the off stump, but today he was shuffling right across so that his feet would go more further outside off stump, reach the pitch of the ball. He wasn't pushing initially, as Boria mentioned. His first big expansive cover drive came in when he was set and batting in his 40s. And that was an absolute masterclass. I mean, back foot, front foot, stepping out. And I think that is also shown. And also I'll be I hope the English batsman was sitting there, and the whole. I mean, they have a big crew, right? They have a lot of people in the backroom staff. They're watching that. They're watching both Ashwin's innings and Virat's innings, and taking down notes, because they've given you a blueprint how to bat on this surface.
Right. In fact, there's also this other aspect of Pragyan. Obviously the pitch debate has been set to rest with these two iconic innings, and from everything the three of you said. But also, right towards the end of the day, there was a bit of a controversial moment with that Joe Root appeal, right? Because Banani Datta has asked us the same question: why wasn't it given out? Obviously, because the third umpires thought that the impact was umpire's call. But Pragyan, that was a Virat Kohli was miffed, but
No,
you had
it was not. It is not the third umpire who thinks that it is umpire's call. It is umpire when he says no. When the umpire says no, and it's a plum. I don't think there was any. I think I have a big doubt about this umpire's call now. I swear, I was. This was unbelievable. This was unbelievable. How can that be not out?
Exactly.
I think that's where if at times we know human can make errors, and so do the technology. So that's when the superiors, who is the superior? Human beings, human. That's when they have to step in and say, boss, we feel this is out. They have to change it. They cannot just say that umpire's call, the ball is hitting the stump, but it's umpire's call, and according to the rule, this is how it is. The rules are made by humans. So you need to do that. I'm not able to connect. I'm not able to connect. Because if that was not out, I swear.
Pragyan is so anguished, Boria. And rightly so.
Pragyan, this is a digital platform. You can be a little more, open and expressive.
No, I can understand. Like people say, no, Deepak, I can understand people say that if he was in the front foot, there is a distance that the ball needs to travel, and we are just creating an imaginary path. But look at that back foot. How can you say that ball will miss the stumps there? And when the ball was hitting his back leg, we could see the off stump.
Yeah.
I swear. I saw two reactions. One was Virat Kohli and one was Ravi Bhai. And those things told me what was the story all about and what they would have said.
And Joe Root's laughter as well, Boria. Joe Root was kind of smiling and relieved that he got away with that one. But it's time for the umpire's call to be reviewed clearly because, okay, now what happens in a similar delivery? The ball does not brush past the pad and it goes and hits the stumps. And it happened, we had a couple of these instances in Australia. What is this whole, a lot of viewers want to know, understand, Boria, what is this whole, when is this whole umpire's call debate going to be rested? Because today was this agonizing call and Deep and Pragyan, they're clearly distraught as cricketers. Your take on how you see the umpire's call?
After Boria, after Boria,
No, Deep, go for it first.
No,
Deep,
go ahead.
Go for it.
For me, I think umpire's call is important. I know a lot of people will disagree, but for me, I think it's a tool to help the umpires to make the correct decision. It's a tool for the umpire. It's not a tool which overtakes the umpire, right? So that is one. That's the reason, and also technology. It's not foolproof. We all know that. I know what the percentage is. I think it's 96, 97 or whatever the percentage is. So if there is an iota of doubt in terms of the technology, I'd rather go with a human being. And also, I don't want to take away the human side of the whole game. I mean, then why is the umpire there for? Then you might as well not have the umpire. You just have cameras. So that is my view on umpire's call. But the other important thing is, as far as that hitting zone is concerned, and I think off air we've discussed this, the hitting zone right now for the umpire's call is the middle of off stump to the middle of leg stump and the bottom of the bails, right? Now, for me, I think that should be increased to the outside edge of the off stump, to the outside edge of the leg stump, and top of the bail. So the hitting area, you're increasing that. So I think while I agree with the umpire's call concept, I also think there needs to be a few changes made to the protocols.
Right. Boria, your take on the umpire's call, but before that, there's also this other thing to the DRS, right? Because there was this, the appeal was for a catch behind. Then there was clearly no bat involved. There was no edge. So the third umpire looked at the LBW. So it also shows that probably the umpire was not even reading the LBW decision because replay showed that the ball just skimmed past the pad, missed the bat. So there are certain issues, right? First on what the umpires are seeing and what the appeals are for, and then then your take on the umpire's call, because Deep made some very important point there regarding that hitting zone for the umpires.
Yeah, regarding that hitting zone, Simon Taufel actually explained it in a beautiful video. If you go and search online, you will get that video, exactly what the protocols are. And frankly, the protocols need to change because far too many times in the recent past are we seeing decisions which are sort of appearing to be howlers. Now here it won't matter, right?
Yeah.
You've got 482 runs to play with. Now if this was 222 runs and Joe Root was given not out, now imagine what that would be. So while you want to protect the sanctity of the game, ultimately, you do not want a call like this to influence an outcome. And that is why the protocol needs to change. And yes, Nitin Menon got it wrong. There's no question he got it wrong because did he actually think about the LBW or was he thinking in his mind about a caught behind? If he was thinking LBW, maybe he would have given it out. I mean, maybe if you are sort of reviewing it for a catch and then this happens, should the on-field umpire be given another call? That look, this is what it is. Do you now want to reconsider the decision? Because eventually he is in the firing line. He is not looking good as a result. I mean, if you take a look at that 10 times out of 10, as Pragyan said, you tend to think 10 times out of 10, oh, you know what, this was out. So yes, but and at times technology is an ass. Simple. You know why? Because who is using that tech? It's a human being. And if you stop the camera, and Sunil Gavaskar had explained this to me extremely well, if you stop the camera at a particular frame, and if you adjust that half a frame, the impact will change. So there are all of these minor issues and adjustments there. So the ICC, and Sachin said this very well during Australia, all of us said it, it is time that the Cricket Committee and the International Cricket Council seriously adjudicates on the umpire's call, because far too many times these discrepancies are creeping in. But as far as we are concerned, we know this was out. So what we are saying is, because you guys cribbed about the pitch so much, we have given Joe Root 2 batting innings.
Okay, I'll add to Boriada. See, Deep bhai, correct me if I'm wrong. Every time we take a review or umpire are checking something, they need to check. First thing they do is they check the no ball. They want to
Right.
keep that equation out. The same
Right.
thing they should do. Yes, they have the umpire has asked for a caught behind or anything, but if there's another way, so if it is impacting the game, they should consider that as well. The third umpire should
Exactly.
tell the umpire that, boss, this is what has happened. You need to change it, because the no ball, they do the same thing, isn't it? First they take the no ball if the ball is legal or not. After
Again,
that they go to the second thing.
yeah. Again, you know what my thing was of the DRS, very much like we are in football. For me, I think players, and we've been taught, right, again, growing up, that the umpire is the final authority, right? So by giving reviews to the players, you're actually giving the authority to the players to challenge the umpires, right? So for me, I rather have a VAR kind of a situation where, you have four umpires amongst themselves. They decide, boss, this was wrong. There was a huge inside edge or whatever, and take it away from the players. I'm more than happy if that's the case, because you have four umpires, you have four umpire and a match referee as well. So that in total five of them. So yeah, I mean, they need to look into it. There's no two ways about it. But like I said, there are a few technicalities. Even the cameras, as Gloria mentioned, now the new cameras that are being used, they have 3,000 frames, right, as compared to a normal camera, which is, I think, what, 250. So because you need very, very high end cameras to track the ball, right, the path of the ball. So yeah, I mean, it's a tech thing which the tech guys will be able to kind of explain better. But you really need to relook the whole process and protocol.
In Australia, Rajoshi, in Australia, the tech guys actually told you that they had made a mistake. Remember, they had acknowledged that they had made a mistake. The stump had moved. So it is not as if that this has not happened. So my solution is very simple. My solution is, now what is happening with no balls? The umpire sitting up, if the on-field umpire is not looking at it, the umpire sitting up is taking the no ball call and telling him, boss, this is wrong. The same thing should happen with these calls. Take it out of the player's hands. Let the third or fourth umpire take a look at that, see the replay, and if there is a problem, go back and say, look, we think this needs to be changed. Because these kind of controversies aren't helping the game. Yes, you tried to empower, but in trying to empower, you're making the umpire look like a fool, and at the same time, you're creating acrimony out in the middle. It is not helping anyone. Things evolve. I also know that things evolve because, if you do not want things to evolve, you will not reach a particular solution. So I think it has now come to that stage in cricket to sort of change that.
Yeah, end of the day, it was about, the players thought that there were a few things which they were not happy with few decisions. That's the reason this was introduced. But if the decisions become 100% accurate by whatever you do, the on-field umpire speaking to the third umpire because he's got a good view of the game with all those cameras, then as long as you're getting the accurate result, I don't think any player would complain. And I'll tell you one more thing. I'm just going a detour. There has been so many Ranji Trophy domestic games where the person who's sitting upstairs tells the on-field umpires that, oh, it was a brilliant decision. That was not out. Thank you. You've done that. But when it's out, they will never tell you on the walkie-talkie. Why is that happening?
Right.
Yeah.
Because see, frankly, what Deep said, what Pragyan said, sum it up. What are they saying? And if you go back to Australia, what was Sachin saying, people saying? Now, in cricket, simply we know if the ball hits the stump from the bowler and the batsman is bowled. That's it. That's how we have learned. It is not 10% hitting the stumps or 5% hitting the stumps. Now, think of the Steve Smith dismissal to Jasprit Bumrah. One bail fell. Now, had that been an umpire's call, Steve Smith would be not out of what? If it was LBW. Now, my point is, just give it to the third umpire. If he sees that the ball is going and hitting the stumps, he will convey it to the on-field umpire saying, you know what, that was out because it's hitting the stumps, period. And the same rule applies for both teams. Because this way, Now, Deep Dasgupta gets an umpire's call not out. Pragyan Ojha gets an umpire's call out. How do you feel about it? Now, you will tell me, oh, you know what? Eventually, it balances out. But no, for that particular game, for an important batsman or an important bowler, if that one decision goes against you, it can influence outcomes. And we all know that. So you do not want to leave things to chance. So you try and solve it. I think time has come.
Right, absolutely. In fact, these are pressing issues, right? And because this umpire, I mean, to go back home thinking about the fact that there was actually an appeal for a catch behind, and then Virat Kohli sort of came and he appeared miffed because that interpretation was also taken away from the.
Deep, you must do something. You must do something. Tomorrow morning, you must tell the host broadcaster to put a microphone in the Indian dressing room, because I would love to hear what Ravi said. And
I would love to hear. I would love to hear what they're saying right now.
That's what the point is. So, Pragyan, we have given you the responsibility to tell us what Ravi could have said. Please.
Right. I tell you what. Why
I'll mute my mic. First of all, whatever the praises and all that, after that, when it comes to root, I'll mute my mic.
But okay, talking of root, Pragyan, this is, we've seen that in the past when teams have been negative and visiting teams have started turning negative, things start unraveling for them pretty quickly. Look at the body language of this English team today. Who would have said that they won back-to-back test matches in Sri Lanka, an overwhelming victory in Chennai? They were completely down and out, and then Jack Leach walks in as night watchman, and Joe Root almost again. We just went through the debate on the umpire's call. Had it been the other way around, England would have been effectively 50 odd for 4, and with the night watchman and Joe Root out. Negative mindset across. Obviously they were on the back foot, but come on.
The night watchman, it's a good tactic. You are saving your batsman. I'm with it. But when you talk about shoulders dropping, body language changing, yes, that is very important, especially when you're playing against a home side, and especially when you've dominated them in the first test and you've beaten them. It is very important. Things can go against you, but it is important how you carry yourself. And mind you, this is the second test. You've got 2 more tests to go. This is not a series decider. So you have to make sure that what kind of things you're communicating to the opponent. India will be very happy. They know if they try and put pressure and put England into back foot, then they can break. That is not what you can show as a team. So they have to make sure that they don't show these kind of body language. I can understand it's a 4 test match series. You've already lost 3 matches, and 4th one also you're about to lose. Yes, at that time, maybe we can see certain things like shoulders dropping, but not when. What will happen after the second test? It will be 1-1. You've got 2 more tests. You can fight it, and you have a fair chance of winning. So you're not out of the competition. So you have to understand. And in that, the leadership group comes there. They become very important. They have to make sure that the body language and everything that they do on the field is important to show that this is not affecting them, even if it is affecting them.
Rajesh, with your permission, I know you have a script, but this is not a script question. Both of you.
Not at all.
Can you just tell me, Pragyan and Deep, can we prepare a turner with the pink ball? Does it turn as much?
Yes.
Will it turn like this?
We have tried this in Dulip Trophy finals to see how the pink ball sustains, and it did. We played for 4 days. We played for 5 days. Dulip Trophy finals is for 5 days, and Jadeja got a 5-4. Yes, it was turning, and the ball was good enough to play. There was no problem at all.
Lovely. So that's the answer we wanted. And Deep, can you please tell us what Rishabh Pant was saying yesterday? The little I got from the stump mic was gem. From what I heard, you know more. From what I heard, he was saying, "Aur thoda aage, Milkha Singh bhage, aksar tu jage," or something like that, which was unbelievable for me.
Rishabh is class. I went down to do something during the lunch break, and he came up to me and was like, "Thoda sa dur rehna, ek bubble mein nahi hai." But I'm so glad the way he's keeping. Obviously, as a batting talent, we know what he can do. But the way he's kept wickets in this test match, it's not easy on that surface. So, you know what? I'm very, very happy to see both Rishabh Pant and Ben Foakes the way they're keeping. it's a great exhibition of good wicket keeping on challenging surfaces like these, and especially for Rishabh, because obviously there's been quite a few questions asked, and it's good to see him improve. Certain things that we've mentioned technically, things that he can change, and I saw those things happening today and yesterday as well. So I'm just so good to see him do so well.
Right. But also, it's so fascinating to see Rishabh Pant, and he's a crowd puller, isn't he? Boria, crowd
course he
entertainer.
is.
This is what Virat Kohli also thrives in these conditions. You saw him in both the innings, pepping up the crowd. That is also that also makes lives difficult for visiting teams. We're just talking
You know,
about how the
two
shoulders drop.
Yeah.
two players told me, not two, one, two, three, four, two members, senior members, and a couple of members of the management, that the stadium was actually, and Deep Dasgupta will tell
Yeah.
us more, that the stadium was like a morgue in the first test. This was the word used, that they just did not
Right.
feel at home. In Australia, they had crowds. So they were like, you know what, let the crowds come in. We will be in our own. So just like yesterday was Valentine's Day, and we know Deep has a love affair with so many people. The Indian team also has a love affair with crowds because they are used to it. And this was the word used, that the stadium was like a morgue. It was just so eerie. In Australia, there were people, and this match, I mean, you have seen what the crowds can do and are doing.
Right. And closing comments, gentlemen. Deep, Boria summed that up so beautifully with the crowds and how it felt like in the first Test match. But what a comeback for crowds to Test international cricket in India. This
I mean,
overwhelming.
Raj, it was wonderful. It is just amazing to get that feeling back, that environment, buzzing, people cheering, and it's just amazing. As Boria mentioned, most of what he said was true, except about what he said about me. God, I just wish this wasn't live and recorded. I would have got this edited though. But anyways, having said that, yeah, I mean, the crowd makes so much of a difference. And listen, if you're if you're in the opposition, and I mean you're the away team here, it's not easy. It's not easy. That crowd, whether it's in Chennai or Ahmedabad, Calcutta, Bombay, anywhere. I mean, Indian crowds are brilliant. Forget India, even outside India, go to Australia, England, anywhere in the world. They're so amazing. I mean, in the cricket fan is the biggest stakeholder in this sport, and I'm just glad that they're back in the stadium, been allowed to watch live cricket and from the stadium. The other quickly, I mean, I saw a question from Satvik asking, has the pitch eased out? Satvik, the pitch hasn't eased out. It's just the quality of batting from Ashwin and Virat. The pitch has not eased out. We saw that when English batsmen were batting, they've lost 3 wickets. And trust me, I mean, Joe Root and Ben Stokes are the 2 other guys, and folk played really well in the first innings as well. But you'll see the pitch, what the pitch can do or what it has in offer when the English batsmen come out and Ashwin and Akshar come out to bowl also. So the pitch, I don't think, has eased out.
No, true that, and that was just a reflection of the way the Indians batted today, especially R. Ashwin and Virat Kohli. Pragyan, this has been a Herculean effort by the Indian team, coming back from the defeat and the crowds around it. You expect? Let's just take in a hypothetical question, right? Because India on the cusp of victory. Let's just throw it for fun's sake. When do you expect this match to be up and done and dusted by tomorrow? Do you think England will last beyond that session, or maybe session and a half? The way the pitch is now.
No, to be very frank, I'm expecting a fight back because Joe Root is there. Maybe till end of day, because I know the wicket is tough, but if Joe Root is what we are thinking, the classy batsman and in the Fab Four, that group, so he'll make sure that a Virat Kohli, the way he applied himself, that's what I'm expecting from him. Then maybe till tomorrow end of day's play, that's what I'm expecting, or maybe day after morning. But it is going to go in India's favor. It is very difficult to get that kind of run, especially batting fourth.
Right. Boria, you're the quintessential storyteller. You like telling stories, and you, apart from now, get out for 2 minutes. Get out of your cricket analysis. Get out of your cricket analysis, and as a storyteller, tell us how would you like this victory to unfold and wrap it up for us? What you'd like to see? What would be magical for you?
Okay, two things. One, I said, Deep Bechara said he wants to take this line out. I'll repeat, Deep has a love affair with so many people. And I'm saying it, knowing it. Virat has a love affair with more people. And I said it in that context. Deep Dasgupta is loved by a hell lot of people because of the way he's conducted himself and the way he's commentating. Look at the kind of adulation that he's getting. Look at what Pragyan Oja, the kind of comments he's getting. And that's because people look up to these guys on Sports Today and on other platforms for what they've achieved. So Deep, it has nothing to do with, you have a perverted mind. That's where I will leave it. So I'm a simpleton.
Listen,
who praised you.
how many
And now you are
backhanded
taking it to a
compliments do you
different
want to
thing.
give
Sorry,
me?
boss. And now to where the game ends. Trisha is writing she wants Flurry's pastry. What kind of a fool is she? Tomorrow I have to have my Saraswati Puja lunch at home, which is lovely bhog. Now the England team cannot be as unfair and unkind that I will miss out on that bhog because my interest will be somewhere. So I'm giving them 3 hours. Let them bat for 3 hours and give it. So the match starts 9:30. Try and finish it by 1:30 so that I can have a lovely Saraswati Puja bhog for lunch, because that will be the celebration for India. Pragyan said Joe Root. Yes, let Joe Root keep batting and try and do what he can, but I at least think it will be a 200-run victory. More than that. I don't see England crossing 230 to 2. Between 230 and 250 is maximum I see England going. And as I said, my Saraswati Puja cannot be spoiled by England batting all day. That's going to be very unfair on me, and they love me because of my. We are all innocent people except Deep Dasgupta, who, as I said, has a perverted mind.
Boryada, God always tests you. So he may test you tomorrow. He'll postpone the lunch, delay the lunch.
Okay, no, good. He's actually said it the best. अरे बॉस आई एम प्रेइंग टू गॉड ओनली सो गॉड के लिए तो कर रहा हूँ, उनके लिए खा रहा हूँ, तो खाने दे भाई. मैं थोड़ी अपना खा रहा हूँ, सरस्वती माँ के लिए खा रहा हूँ, माँ का प्रसाद है, खाने दे बाबा.
But gentlemen, we'll remind you, we will definitely need to have all 3 gentlemen back on Sports Today after the match is wrapped up. So sorry, we will dent a little into, and in fact, just to let you know, a producer has requested me if she can take the day off tomorrow, but I was hoping that the match would get over early, but since I don't know, we'll have to see. We'll really want to see what unfolds and how this entire game goes through, and whether there is a fight back from Joe Root to show that England intend on what looks like what is likely to be the final day of this second test match. But another invigorating discussion. Thank you so much, Pragyan Oja, Deep Dasgupta, Boria Majumdar, and thank you everyone for joining us on this discussion. We'll be back with a lot more once India hopefully wraps up victory early on day 4 on Saraswati Puja. Thank you.